guys. Here we are with another episode of Three Peas in a Pod. Here we have Trinity Team 504 and Mark Larry and me.
Hey guys.
All right, we're going to go ahead and dive into it. There's a lot of things going on with politics and with all kinds of things going on with the politics and the deployment of our troops. What do you guys think about that?
I'm from New Orleans, so that's one of the cities he talking about sending the troops to. I'm all for it, and the only reason I'm all for it is because all the chaos and the killing. He need to stop about an hour outside in Baton Rouge first and get them youngsters together too. So I know a lot of the especially in brown community, we always talk about. I didn't feel some type of way saying that just picking on blacks or whatnot, but the crime is in those cities. So unless that you're gonna police those crimes yourself, like the Black Panthers did in the '60s, where they actually policed their own before the crack era and all that stuff, then don't cry about the police and the troops doing their job. Because I personally want to be able to go to a city without having to carry a firearm or watch my back or worry about what's gonna happen because of chaos or something. So that's my beliefs on it.
Okay, I'm gonna back up on this one. I'm gonna reverse it. I'm put my
Hmm.
Uno call that reverse. So I understand. I agree with you. I agree. You say how you feel about going to the hood and you're worried about getting shot or robbed, stuff like that, right?
Right.
But what about the other cities? If you go to a sundown city, what's the difference?
Like a good old boy town.
Yeah, a sundown city. Yeah, you go to a
Well,
sundown city, minding your
yeah.
business. You just traveling. What's the
But to
difference?
answer your question, in those good old boy towns, if you don't bother them people, the people usually don't bother you.
Man, stop it, man. Man,
Hey,
stop it.
you
You can
you
be,
can't tell me my lived experiences. If you don't mess with the people ain't messing with you.
man, no. If your ass black, you gonna get messed with because you in the wrong town. Come on now.
I've been to Eastern Kentucky. I've been to Tennessee. And I'm here to talk about it. And those
I,
places, yeah, way worse than equivalent to the World War South. I'm gonna tell you.
okay. We can change the subject about it. Okay. You go in those towns and you minding your business and you black, you getting your ass slaughtered. We all
or
know that.
or my reason back there, I was working. So unlike the
Yeah, you can't be walking
Baltimores,
around with no suit and nicely dressed. So
right? So unlike the Baltimores and
definitely
the New
depends how you
Orleans and
represent
all
yourself.
those other places, I if you ain't got, I got reason to be there. So that's what I'm saying. So what was the reason to be in a good old boys town when I was working with AT&T? I ain't had no issues, bro.
Okay. But I get what you're saying, but I was just saying what about those towns too? Because I mean, of course we know damn we know better not to go in those towns, but I'm
Right.
saying it's not really a difference in I mean the hood is much better because they out of control.
The
They're not
murders, the shootouts, all of that stuff, right?
exactly, yes. Their parents not caring and not making them a better person in life. They're out of control. So I get what you're saying. But I thought I brought that up as a reverse. Okay, you got these other towns too, so don't make it just seem like it's just the hood only. You got these other towns that's doing some shit that they know, but they ain't giving a fuck about. That's all I wanna put
I
out there.
got you.
So what do we think about the Charlie Kirk shooting? Speaking about not being safe in certain communities and areas and things like that. Mind you, they were all the same color.
I never heard of him until that day. I never heard of him, but I let Trinity team go next because go first because I have some questions. I want to interview him because I'm pretty sure he know who he is, and I've been seeing this on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, when you follow the political stuff, then you gonna know the heavy hitters. So I followed
Yeah, he
him
is.
before
Okay.
yesterday. The when I say heavy hitters, the known people, he was part of Trump inauguration, a speech, like all of that stuff. So first of all, rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. So that man was a husband and a daddy. So rest in peace, regardless of how the rest of the world feel about it. My personal beliefs, Charlie Kirk was a Christian. So I like Charlie Kirk. I have some of Charlie Kirk's same beliefs as far as the homosexuality stuff, all the sinning, it is what it is. So you can't
Mhm.
be like an in-between Christian and say I'm okay with some of this stuff and
Right.
I'm not okay with some of it. But I will say his delivery, just like people say about Trump, about myself, about all uh alpha male type men, they gonna say the delivery can be better. Me as a black man, I don't want a government handout. I don't want to be on welfare. I don't want you to give me points on a job test, affirmative action, hire me because I'm black. No, I don't want none of that. I want this job because I know I'm the right man for this job and that I earned this job. So I don't want to hear about all the slavery times. I come from this, I come from that. No, I'm gonna earn it, and you gonna respect me because I'm a man. Not that I'm a black man, but because I'm a man. So I agree with his beliefs that it shouldn't be he shouldn't have to tiptoe around something because you say, oh, I don't have this because I was underprivileged. Now, do I believe is a such thing as systematic racism? I do, as a kid, because we handed down the bad principles and the stuff that was taught by our parents that came from their parents that came from their parents because they grew up in those generations. So we can't fault that, but that's all that they know. But it come a time as an adult, because you go in again back to the inner cities, any inner city across America, from the East Coast, West Coast, down South, Midwest, they all gonna say the white man keeping me down. I can't have this because of this. I can't do this because of this. But as a grown man, you know that's bullshit. So you talking to somebody that had it all, lost it all, felony on his record, came back, got it again. So you can't tell me like what you can't achieve if you don't put forth the necessary steps. Now the key is putting forth the necessary steps. So it is systematic racism if you 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, probably even on to age 18. But when you pass 25 and 30, you got to want something different. So either you going to go out there and learn something different, or you going to fall victim to the same BS, pointing the finger
Right.
at everybody else. So I stand by Charlie Kirk, but do I think his delivery could have been better? Yes.
Some of the stuff is still systematic. Like I get what you're saying, but hear me out. Okay,
Hmm.
now there's still all black families that are being blocked from opportunities that white families are benefit. Okay, that still happens. No matter what's went on in history, that still happens. Just like with jobs. For an example, let's say you had a house, a big house,
Hmm.
and you try to sell it, and they appraised it, and they tell you that your they tell you that your appraisal value for that house, like the market value, at a lower price. When you know for a fact that appraised value is high, because you have a good house, standing conditions, nothing wrong with it, right?
Hmm.
But on the other hand, if you are another race, they'll give you a higher value. Now this has happened several times. Okay, I'm giving you a real life story.
Okay.
But I'm saying that's like one scenario to what I mean about how they block opportunities for black families, but that is benefit for white families. You get what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
get what you're saying. You saying, oh, if you grown, you gotta do this. Yes, get on your feet and do what you gotta do
Right.
because you're grown. But there are still situations to where we are still being blocked as a black community because what they're doing is what they're doing is they're trying to dim the light. That's what I want to put out there. So I get what you're saying, but there are still case scenarios to where our light is still being dimmed just because of our color. So I seen this video. Ever since he got killed,
Hmm.
regardless who you are, regardless of what's your opinion, I feel like nobody should be happy about somebody being killed or shot. I
Right.
feel like that's some disrespectful stuff. Like no regardless of what you got going in life, you shouldn't be celebrating that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
Right.
your tongue is a real power, and that shit can happen to you. But I seen a video that was going around on social media. It was like clips of what he was saying. Let me play one. People get reparations. They should. So I, white man, have to play for black people. Why? Wow, that's a really selfish thing you just said. Hold on, why should I have... That's a really non-empathetic thing to say. Why should I have empathy for a race? I have white guilt because I breathe? Why should the white I'm not pretty sure if y'all heard that.
I heard it.
Yeah, so I get what he's saying, but what I was saying, like, he's still missing the point, like, because like the reparations, it's just not about blaming, us who was alive today, within America.
Mhm.
It's pretty much how holding accountability of what's been going on in the centuries within America. That's all I want to say. So I
No,
get
I
what
got.
you're
That's why
saying.
I say I understand it's systematic, but I
Right.
agree with what he just said. What he's saying is he shouldn't have to pay to say, okay, I'm white, so I gotta pay for your welfare. I gotta give you
No.
reparations. I gotta pay for your school. He shouldn't have to pay for it. If
Yes.
everybody else that went to school gotta pay them loans back before Biden wipe it clean, whatever the case, then yeah, everybody else should have to pay. Because if not, who
Yes.
you think
I
paying
agree.
welfare now? Because you work hard, you work a regular 9 to 5 and run a
Hmm.
business. Where's your tax dollars going? To welfare and EBT and all of that stuff. So
Yes.
who are the recipients? I'm not saying that just black and brown people are the recipient because we still are minorities. The white race as a whole is more people, even though they say that gap is getting smaller.
There's plenty of white recipients,
Right,
especially if
that's what I'm
you're.
Hmm.
saying. So they saying the gap is getting smaller. So if we gonna go by numbers, it's probably more whites that's on that than blacks and Hispanics. But we talking per population in these small towns. So I get it. But so yeah, I agree with him. Where you think your tax dollars going? See, love,
Right.
I want to know what you think as a Hispanic female.
um I think I'm kind of like on both sides of the fence because it's like I see the effect that it's causing the community,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not one particular race. I think it's everyone,
Hmm.
to begin with. And I think all of this welfare and all of these things started. I mean, it's been a thing since like World War II, right? Um, America was helping other countries, helping other people, feeding them, providing weapons to them, and things like that. And it's like America for a long time chose to set themselves apart from other countries' politics and things like that. But at the same token, we're helping these other countries when there's hunger and poverty going on in America. And that's kind of where Medicare and Medicaid and welfare was created because it's just like you're helping them, but what are you doing for your own people? Um,
I
so
agree.
I do think it's a good idea that Trump is kind of enforcing the qualifications for the benefits and things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a certain color or race that's on these benefits, because I know plenty of white people that also abuse the system because they know they can,
Mhm.
and it's like who do we see on the street, asking for money and things like that, who do we see on the street working for their money? So it's just
Mhm.
it's different. I know each race, we all have different work ethics, and I feel like the black and brown do have to work 10 times harder to be looked at and considered for certain things.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to explain to you, bro. We have to work harder than the other race, So I get what he's saying, but our light is still dimmed. We have to work harder as twice as them in order to get some light. You get what I'm saying? It's not
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not equal. That's
it's
what I'm trying to
not. And it
explain.
also goes with like gender roles too, because I actually wrote I wrote an essay about this. We have Black people have the highest graduation rate in America by probably 2 billion. And so that number doesn't keep deflating. Women also are the highest, with college graduates, doctorate degrees, and things like that. Um, but when you look at employment rates and things like that, they're not hiring. They're not hiring people of color and black and browns for these positions, even though we're the highest graduates percentage in America.
Right. See, and that's also another factor of what he's saying. I'm like, okay, I get what he's saying, But come on now, this is systematic. Like you know, you are dimming the light
Mm-hmm.
regardless. That's all I want to put out there.
All right, I got you.
All right, let's lighten the aura.
Okay, I'm sorry. Look,
Let's
I got one
light.
more question. I ask Quentin team because I don't know who he
Okay.
is, but you know,
Okay.
somebody said, okay, I see a lot of people who don't know who Charlie Clark was, which is me. I had no clue
Mhm.
who was.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me if this is true or not. They said that he believed that teaching race and certain histories in school were teaching kids to hate America and white people. That he pushed the belief so hard that he got teachers fired and books banned. Is that true?
No, they adding stuff to that, man. It's the same like what Trump did, what Trump said, and what the governor in Florida said, that teaching about slavery is pushing like hate, teaching hate. So
Mm,
with that,
I don't
I,
agree.
I
Go
kind of
ahead.
hear both sides because I'm gonna tell you mine. So I do think
Okay.
that you should know your history to say this is where we come from. But on a different token, even before that, if you want to go history, keep going further back to Africa when you was kings and queens and all of that stuff. So by you telling those kids you were slaves, and I don't know how it was here, but every time they show Roots in Louisiana, they always beat up the white kids after. So I do believe it's teaching like hate, but I think it's more so of a generation. And what I mean, we ourselves not growing up in the era that grandma grew up in. We not even growing up
Yeah.
in the era that mama and daddy grew up in. Because
Mhm.
if we gonna be honest, some of them they did had tough times. But the same way that the whites will push the race issue, the blacks will push it too. I don't think we could be racist because of all the stuff that we endured. But I think it's more you still have a prejudice, a preformed judgment of a certain race. And until you break that, in a spiritual realm, we call that spirit of slavery, because you put yourself in a mindset to say this is who I am, this is why I'm like this, whatever the case. But
Mhm.
until you break that, it's still a demonic code. Then you gotta walk in your purpose and understand who you are. Like you know me personally, so the stuff that I endured, the stuff that I'm at now, like come on, man, the average person ain't gonna go through it, let alone the average felon. But so I'm just not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I'm okay with certain things when I'm not, because I do think it's still pushing a race issue. Hey, this is they used to beat us, we come from this, those people are evil. So what you planting in that kid's mind is white people are evil. That's what you're telling them basically.
I, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yes, I get what you're saying. That can also happen. Yeah,
Mhm.
but I didn't know. So in Louisiana, that was beating up white people, white
Huh?
kids. You see?
Yeah, in New Orleans. I don't know about the rest of it. Every time they show
Oh,
Roots on TV,
yeah.
yeah, that's what happens. So I don't know how it was in Dallas, but I'm telling
Nah,
you
we
how
the
it was at
opposite.
our schools.
We the
I,
opposite. We the opposite. In Dallas, we tell our people to avoid that area because when they see you, they'll it's called racial profiling. They'll think that you're a suspect or you're up to no good. You know, other than or they come to you asking you all these questions. Like you can be out there door dashing or something. You know what I'm saying? And they can just pick on you for no reason. So we the opposite. So we try to stay from that area to avoid those situations. That's what we teach our children, to be
Mhm.
safe, you know. But we also teach them
I
history
don't think
so
you
they can.
should teach your kids that, because what's to say that you're not, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I don't want to teach my son, oh, stay away from that area. Here, you're a doctor. Here, no, you have a right to live in these areas too. You know, like why
Right.
do we have to stay in minority areas just to feel safe? Because we kill each other all the time. Nowhere is really safe. It's all about your mental, how you think things, how you're raising your kids. And yeah, it's all about teaching them not to hate, not to do these things. But be
Right.
aware, for sure.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say stay away from those areas. If anything, we are going to go shop over there. Let's go to SMU and look at these big ass houses that you will one day own.
Hmm.
So it's not, I definitely don't keep myself or my son away from those areas.
Right. I get what you're saying. I don't exactly mean stay away from their areas. I pretty much mean like 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 be aware, because pretty much you got to give your child the background, of things that
Yeah.
went on in the area, and you want them to also avoid that from happening. Like for an example, like I said, you can be jaywalking, or you can be going to a store. Like you can probably live in the area, and then you have some situations to where they think, you're probably there for no reason or for no good, and they'll question, what I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that's all areas, but we all know that there's some areas,
Yeah, it
that
happens
that's
for
right.
sure.
Right, right. So as a parent, you have to
Hmm.
give your child the history and the background, because as kids, they're innocent. They have no clue what's going on. So
Right.
they need to know the background stories,
But
because
kids have to be taught hate, because just what you said, a
no,
child's born innocent. A child, you go get a little
Yeah.
kid. My son 3 right now. That
right,
my son
He
don't
hugs
know color.
everybody. My daughter hugs everybody.
Right? They gon'
right,
they gon' play. They don't know hate. All they know is
Or
love.
color.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
that's taught. So hatred. This
No,
this what I'm explaining to you. So
okay,
hatred is taught to say you're a black kid, this a white kid, this or that kid. Like
no,
that's what
yes.
I think.
Yes, that is hate, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you teach your child history. You know what I'm saying? Because when they encounter those things, they're innocent and they have no clue what's going on. So you as a parent has
You're
to sit there
exposing
and
them to it.
yeah, I said, okay, child, okay, yeah, say, okay, son, so let me give you a background history of what went on in the past, and what could have caused this problem to happen. That's exactly what I mean in my point of view. I get what
Got
you're
you.
saying. No, hell no, I'm not doing that shit. Like, oh, you don't hang around him because he's not black. No, I don't do that because when we go out of town, like on our vacations, he be hanging with all other
Right,
race,
right.
and that's right. You know what I'm saying? Like especially when we went to Mexico. He was in the pool with nothing but white kids. And it was with the family. Who was hey greeting, stuff like that. Like he's innocent. Like those things. No, yes, I agree. Those are hate, but no, those things I do not teach my son. But
Yeah.
I am going to teach him like the history, the things that we learned in school about the background of of everything of America, what went on, because when he encounters those things, he's going to ask those questions and he's going to be curious. So I have to give him those talks. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. If that
Yeah, and
makes sense.
I'm with you. That's why I said I'm all for teaching the history so it doesn't repeat itself. But I'm
Right.
saying
Yeah.
from the angle of the what because let's be honest, it's America, CNN, bro. They push the hate agenda. I always told you that they push the race agenda. It's why
Mm-hmm.
they show you certain things and they don't show others. So unless you smart enough to know, oh, this is why that is being pushed, they gonna twist everything. Like I just said,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have never thought of the perspective where I just said you teaching that kid hater that kid can't do nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody thinks like that. But that's exactly what they're doing. Oh, you can't do this because you black. You need extra points because you black. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta get a handout because you black. No, man, that's like a slap in the face. That's like you
Lazy.
accepting,
You
yeah,
black. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
being
Yeah.
inferior to somebody else, and that's just not it. So I'm like, no, I can't rock with that stuff. So that's why I said the delivery on some of it could have been better. But when we
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
as men, it's gonna come out in a harsh way. So that's why it's probably received the way it's received.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying.
Mhm.
But also, everybody have a different mindset. So, like, just for an example, you had a different point of view that I didn't know about, and I didn't
Mhm.
either. So, his
Right.
point of view might be different too from the other side of the story.
Right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And
Um,
that's why we have three P's on a podcast.
mhm.
Mm.
All right, let's
I
switch
did.
gears, guys, and let's talk
Okay.
about relationships and all the good stuff. My number one question to you two men is, how do you determine whether a man is ready for a committed relationship?
Shit, it's a love he received.
How they treat you?
Yeah. Like
That's how
me,
you'll know.
for me, I love the simple things. So me, don't call me crazy, okay? But a lot of times when I'm like ripping and running, I talk to myself. I'm like, damn, I need to do that, need to do that, need to do that. And then, my woman, she like, hey baby, I got you this, whatever. And I'm like, like when we first started dating, she said, I got you this, you said you needed this. But me as a man, I'm
Mhm.
not thinking that you hear what I'm saying? Because I'm just talking to myself. Because pretty much I make like a checklist what I need to do. And when we started dating at first, like 6 years ago, uh, she used to give me those things. Those are the type of things that lets me know, okay, those are simple things that lets me know, okay, you are the one that I've been looking for. So that's one of my reasons on how I know that, you're the person that I
That
want to
you're
be.
ready for a serious relationship, I guess, is
Right.
how they treat you and the consideration towards you.
Right.
Then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll make this serious.
Yeah.
That's what
That's
they say.
one. Yeah. Yeah. There's just one, but it's a lot more. But yeah, I just want to give you one. There's just one.
Okay.
For me, you gotta listen. So what I mean by listen is the man has to be the one to chase you. You can't chase me. I, I don't want you chasing me because it's like you set the rules. So I'm the
You
man,
have
you the
to
one.
listen. Well,
Yeah, I'm
damn. God
supposed to
forbid she's
chase.
fucking deaf.
No,
As
you
soon as you
know,
said listen, I said, oh
yeah.
shit.
I need you.
No.
I need you to listen. So I'm the one that's going to chase. I don't want you chasing me because the man has to be the one doing the chasing to say this is what I want. Because if
Yeah.
not, it's the
Right.
woman that's putting everything in place. So then
Well,
once,
what if the guy is, I'm not gonna say full of shit, but what if the guy is saying all the right things? Oh, I'm not going nowhere. Oh, I'm ready to date. I'm ready to be in a serious relationship.
but
But on the flip
you
side,
gotta
their
have
actions are
discernment. So yeah, I'm about to say you gotta have discernment. So if he's saying he's ready to be in a serious relationship, then what is his action showing that? Are we going on a date?
right.
When I say a date, I mean a real date, and I don't, not just a regular date, a courting date, meaning we dating for a purpose. So
Yeah.
are we going to a restaurant? Are we talking about family values? Are we talking about how many kids do you want? Are we talking about what do you see in a man? What do I see in a woman? Or are we dating, talking about Netflix and chill and sexual preferences? Because that's not
Mhm.
dating. And then if sex happens too early, then 9 times out of 10 he gonna be gone anyway because it's
Hmm.
not always. It's a small percentage where it's like okay we attracted and we fall into lust before the love, which still isn't right, but we talking
Ain't
real
gonna
here.
work
We not
out
being
all the
fake.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Right.
talking real. So and it still happens, and he like, hey, I like this one, and it's more than just physical attraction. Then yeah,
Mm.
but most of the time, if it's lust and it's physical attraction, then he gonna lose interest after sex if it happened fast anyway.
Yeah, it won't be a long time. Right. Yeah, I get
Right? I'm gonna call you when when I'm hard again, like basically.
When it's convenient. Yeah, I think
Right?
that's one
Yeah.
thing. I think that's one thing women need to probably look out for. You have to just really kind of ask yourself, despite the conversations, right? Because everyone can have these conversations, everyone can play the part, but I
you.
definitely feel kind of like what Mike says, like you have to pay attention to how they treat you. I'm really big on action because obviously in the past I've heard it all. I've been married, I've been engaged, I've had two kids, so it's like I've heard it all. Marriage to me, if you tell me, "Oh, I want to marry you," that doesn't excite me because that's not my end goal anymore, sad to say.
Hmm.
But you know what I mean? I'm not on this earth to find a man and be married. Like, I don't feel like that's my only purpose. Like I said, been there, done that. So it's like that doesn't excite me. So it's just like, what goals do you have? Um, I'm interested in like what you want for your future, what you want to build together, and who you are as an individual, right? And it's
Right.
like I feel like if you don't set the time to have those conversations and you just want to be laid up or you become convenience because you're close, and it's just like you definitely have to learn how to like deviate those things because you'll definitely become a piece of ass
But if
if you
marriage is
don't
not, and if
if you
marriage is
don't.
not the end goal, whether you've been there before or not, you still setting yourself up for failure. Because it's like, what are we,
Yeah,
longtime boyfriend and girlfriend? Like,
right.
no. And now you bring in other, from a spiritual aspect, you bring in other curses and things into your life. So even though you may have the physical toys, the money or whatever, all that stuff gonna come with a sacrifice. So you still gonna
Yeah.
find
And what
something
I
that's
mean by
missing.
that is
Yeah,
that marriage is not my end goal. I mean, like when I meet a person, I don't
gotcha.
instantly say, "Oh, this is the person I'm gonna marry," right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
That's not my end goal. So my main focus is not to make this person my husband. It's show me that you're ready to be a husband. Show me that you're ready to be in a serious relationship. And that's what I'm looking for. You do those things, then maybe it will lead into something serious. But if you're not, then I'm definitely gonna chunk your deuce quicker than you can blink your eyes. And I kind of hate that I'm like that, but it's just what we've been thrown at. I'm very sensitive about time. We spoke about this on our last podcast. Like, we don't have time to waste. I only have
Mm-hmm.
8 hours of spare time, you know, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to school. So it's just like, we don't have time to waste. So it's just like, man, if you're not looking for something serious, stop wasting these women's time.
Now,
Yep.
do you think
Right.
it's like age? Do you think it's age restricted as well, or no?
No, because okay. So we can go into, so Trick Daddy said that he doesn't date women older than 35, right?
I'm sorry. Hold on. How how old is Trick Daddy?
Yeah,
At least
exactly.
50 plus 50, at least, bro.
And what's his name? Trick Daddy.
Trick Daddy.
So
And he
obviously
looked like
he
Florida Evans. Florida Evans looking mother. Oh, go ahead.
so that's an example, right? And then just turning around and looking at me. I don't think it's an age thing because I was married to a very young guy and in his 20s. You know what I mean? And it's like he did a lot of the things that a lot of these older men didn't, and I guess he was just young and he wanted to do these things and experience these things. Um but that relationship didn't last because he wasn't mentally matured to
Right.
follow through and be the right kind of husband, the right kind of partner, the right kind of dad. Trick Daddy, for example, he says that he won't date women over 35 because he says our standards are too high. He says our standards are too high, and basically we're complicated. And then I saw a comment saying that we're washed up, but I don't think that's it. Women over 35 have already have their two, they say that we fall in love 3 times. So more than likely, we've already had our one, we've already had our two, we still need our three. That's our happily ever after, right? So by the age 35, we've already experienced and dated enough men to know what we want, right? And now
Mhm.
it's like, I require this, in our dating phase, this is what I require. In a relationship, this is what I require. And if you're not hitting those things, 9 times out of 10, we're not wasting our time because by 35, we're independent, we're paying our own bills, we're taking care of our own kids. We're not relying on a man to do these things by now, So it's like, I definitely encourage marry young because you grow together, right? And you're more dependent on each other. And I think that's what makes a lasting love. But in your 30s, late 30s, 40s, yeah, it's not even like a thought.
Yeah, and he said that because the young girls are impressionable. So young girls don't want nothing out of life. So
No, they
they
just want
gonna,
you to buy them
yeah,
something to eat, buy them some shoes, and they're
right.
good. Us
And he
women,
like,
no, we
oh, it's
want you to pay
Trick
this light
Daddy.
bill.
Trick Daddy got a restaurant. Trick Daddy drive a Porsche. They won't be
Right,
seen. They won't snap the
for
flicks up for
sure.
IG. And he probably just pay a cell phone bill and that's it. He ain't
Yeah,
got nothing to
buy
worry
shoes.
about.
They all they want is shoes and bags. You know what I mean? Me, I'm gonna ask you to buy me some real estate. I'm gonna tell you, hey, give me some money so I can invest in some stocks. Like it's not the same thing.
And if she over
Like
35 and like been divorced and like you said, she went through a lot of stuff. So
Mhm.
just like the men. So it's like, okay, if I'm gonna get in a relationship after I already been divorced, I already been separated, then I want my next relationship to be my last. Because if not,
right.
the longer you are single, the longer you feel you're not gonna need nobody and then things get
You get
compromised.
comfortable. You get comfortable
Right.
with being independent. Yeah.
Right, with yourself. And then it's like if I'm gonna bring somebody in here, and that cycle gonna be hard to break with the stuff that you already know. But I do
Hmm.
understand that singleness is a part of when you do find somebody, it's gonna be a better relationship, because
For
can't nobody
sure.
make you happy. Can't
Yeah.
Your happiness should never depend on the
On
way
nobody.
somebody else treats you. Or if this person
Right.
leave, I'ma die, I'm suicidal, I'm homicidal. Like, no, my happiness
Hmm.
comes from the
Is
one and
me.
only, right? The
Baby,
one
I
and
make
only
myself
creator. If
happy.
you
You
ain't
know what I mean?
God, then
This
yeah,
is this is what I
period.
told this guy yesterday. He was like, he had just got out of a 6 year relationship, and he was just like, man, I don't know, like the dating, he's scared to date and things like that. And I was like, I know what you're talking about, you know? And I was just like, my last relationship, I was married to this person. So it's just like, you mourn, you know, like the death of your best friend, and then you mourn your spouse. And it's just
Mhm.
like, you're here left now. It's just like, damn, now what? You know, I used to wake up every day with this person. We used to do things together, everything together, if that, you know? So it's just like, you kind of have to become like reborn again, and figure out who you are, what makes you happy, how to make yourself happy, what brings you peace, and start by putting yourself first. And then I told him the
Hmm.
worst thing that you can do is compare, you know, like compare these
Right.
women to who you're going on dates with, to the person that you dated or were with for 6 years. And he was like, I actually did that the last time. He's like, I went on a date, and I was comparing her to my ex. And I was like, you're never gonna get out of that bubble. I was like, you have to heal, basically, you know, from that relationship, because
Yeah, because the
Yeah.
ex
you're
might
gonna
have
yearn it, you know, you're gonna want it,
cook,
you miss it.
clean. Yeah, the ex might have been a traditional housewife, cook, clean, understand her role, and then you got a new one that's in a new age group, and she might be a career lady. It ain't gonna be the same. So you
Yeah.
can't compare them. Like, it ain't gonna
Yeah.
work, man.
I agree.
What do you think about Tree Daddy? You didn't make a comment about Tree Daddy.
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
shit, I found all that shit a sign of a sign of manipulation. Like that's my thoughts because, like, I mean, you see that. I mean, well, we see that now. You know, you see like grown men who like dating young girls who in high school. You know, because like you said, all they want
Mhm.
is money, a ride. You know, just to show off and all that BS. But
Yeah.
if you get somebody your age, they ain't with all that bullshit. They gonna call you out, and there's some things that men trying to avoid.
Hmm.
So a sign of a manipulation. When I hear anything about a grown man dating somebody young, that's the first thing come to mind.
And to me, that's
And
borderline pedophilia too, because ain't nothing you could say
yeah,
a girl is 18, 19, 20. You can say she's legal of age, but you as a grown man in your 30s and 40s, and even some
hmm,
of them in their 50s, that's a child. Ain't nothing about a child should turn you on, man, unless you got
Right.
pedophilia type ways. Yeah.
exactly.
Like
And they
this week.
mindset, they're still
Yeah.
simple mindset. They have that college mind still. So you know all they want
Yes,
to
the
do.
college mind. It's funny that you say that, because yeah, you know, and just men in general, because me, I get approached by a lot of guys that are in their 20s.
Hmm.
In their 20s in college. The youngest one I think was 19. You know, and it's just like, don't even look my way. You know, it just feels so fucking weird, you know, to have somebody or to be attracted to somebody that young. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's like, I don't know, men just be, not all men, but men just, oh, they just be wanting anything.
I went to one of my homeboys' bachelor parties, and I won't say his name. This was about 8 years ago, by the way, for y'all that's ready to judge me. But I went to his bachelor party, and then I get in there, and it's in one of the clubs. And I get in the club, and every girl in it, like I just told you, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah,
And I'm like I'm not having a good time. This is not even fun to me. Like nothing about
right.
this is a turn on in no form of fashion. Like,
Hmm.
go where your mama at? Go get your mama and let me talk to your mama.
Right. You need consent to be in here, girl.
Right? Like, no, man, like this is not cool whatsoever. So that was never
Right.
my thing. Even when I was little, I was always attracted to like older women. But what he just said is the truth, because you'll be in high school and you will see girls getting dropped off by grown men or dudes that supposedly left. So they 20, 21, 22, messing with these 15 and 16-year-old girls. And
17-year-olds.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they think
Mhm.
like it's okay, it's all right. And then she got the fresh G Nikes, fresh pair of Air Force Ones. So all he did was buy her shoes, keep her hair done. Oh, my man take care of me. Man, you live with your mama. Go sit down somewhere,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's the way of a man. That's their way of tricking a woman because
These
once they see
girls, because they're not
money,
even women yet, they're girls. I feel
well,
like you don't, I feel like you don't really
females.
become like a real woman. I feel like you don't really become your real woman self until you have kids. Once you have kids, now you know what it's like to be a woman, to look after somebody, to have to provide for your child. And until then, you're not no damn woman. You're a girl trying to figure out life. And it's like,
Mm,
I remember,
I wouldn't
so
include kids in the situation. I mean, you can still be a woman without kids.
without kids,
Well,
no.
yeah, well, yes, people got nieces and nephews, that they, take care of and do things with. So, I mean, you don't have to have kids to
Yeah,
be
but I
I'm a,
feel
considered
I'm
like
a
a,
you
I'm
woman.
a
you
step
need
in. I'm
you
gonna jump in on this. Now you could love your nieces and nephews, but it ain't
yeah,
gonna be
but
the same until you have your
your
biological
own.
child. And the
Yes,
reason
I
I
do
say
agree with
that,
that.
yeah, the reason I say that, you gonna is like a automatic love and protection since birth, and you're gonna have
Yeah,
Exactly.
that for the niece and nephews, and even your stepkids. You're gonna have that a love for them, but
Hmm.
when your biological is born, it's gonna be you
way
ready to move
different.
mountains, raise cars, whatever. Like,
Right.
yeah, you gonna
Yeah,
Right.
be logical about everything until it comes to what's close to you, and then all logic is
for
out the
sure.
window because you're willing to
Yeah,
kill and die for your children.
for sure. Yeah, because and that is a good example because I was the favorite aunt. I looked out and took care of all of my nieces and nephews for a very long time. But when I had my son, baby, I cried and I probably prayed the hardest. You know what I mean? You really find yourself when you have your son or when you have your first child. That's just a feeling that I cannot describe because you're responsible for somebody now. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this little
And I
person
like you use the
relies
word
on me.
find. So you're gonna find yourself or lose yourself. So I'm glad you use that
Yeah.
word, because that's what it is. Because it's like everything is on me, and I want the best for my
Hmm.
kids.
For
So
sure.
I'm may do things that I wouldn't normally do, whether good or bad, just to make sure that they're taken care of. And then
Yeah.
that's always the mindset until something happens, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
all right, I gotta regroup and rethink.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Speaking of kids and parenting, school just started. I have a teenager and they just reprinted out their ID badges.
Mhm.
And like I always say, I'm very busy. I'm very busy and I have a lot going on. Sometimes I don't have the time to be the nurturing mother. I call it my daddy mode. Because, daddies are more like, you got to take a bath. You got to do your homework. Hey, get to bed. You know what I mean? Like everything's like this. And
Another
mommy is
reason
more
why you
like,
need a man. Go ahead. I ain't say nothing.
no, no, I don't say I don't need one. Very much need one. Very much would like one. I just want, I need the right man that's going to balance me and
I got
bring the feminine out of me, because like I said, I'm daddy and mommy.
you.
And so, and sometimes, yeah, it's mentally, physically tiring, playing both roles. But
Mhm.
anyway, so I come in and I'm constantly like, all right, it's homework done. Did you guys have dinner? Did you guys take a shower? Did you guys get things together? And my
Hmm.
son, we're very close. We have a really good relationship. He was just like, Mom, I had a bad day. And so I was like, all right, well, what is it, Jay? And I'm over here just kind of grabbing things in the kitchen and sitting my daughter down and, hey, we got to get this homework done. And then he says it again and he's like, Mom, I had a bad day or I had a hard day. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, "What's up?" I was like, "You want to talk?" And then I sit him down on the other side of me, and he's making him something like a snack. And then he's like, "We got new badges today." And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Why? Y'all just got, school just started." And he was like, somebody committed suicide. And so I was just like, "What?" Or he shows me his ID badge, and I turn the back of it, and it's the suicide hotline, suicide website. And he was just like, "They added this to everyone's ID badges." And so I'm just like, "Somebody killed himself?" And so he was like, "It was my friend, mom. She texted me last night." So, that's like pause. And I was just like, "Okay, well, how do you feel? How do you feel? What are you going through?" Didn't ask him what she texted him or anything like that. And he just kind of gives me context and background of his friend. Um, say that to say this, guys, like, no matter how busy we are in life, we do need to sit down and take the time to talk to our kids. And nothing is never that serious to where we have to be so upset at our kids, or be so upset to make our kids feel unwanted, or anything like that. We definitely, especially our high school kids, they're going through a lot of emotions at it as it is, and they're figuring themselves out, right? They went through
Mhm.
elementary, they've gone through middle school. These are their last 4 years of being a scholar, right? In school,
Hmm.
high school, like that. Um, so it's like we need to take our time to really talk to our kids, show them that they're loved every day. Every
Mhm.
day myself, I just kind of been checking up on my son, seeing how he is mentally and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up and make sure that we're all doing our part, like as parents. It takes a village, and those conversations are not always easy, but let's definitely take our time to hold our kids a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it's
I,
not just kids either. I feel like it's your siblings too, because as we know, this is the month of September, and this is the month to where most people do that. So last week or 2 weeks ago, on social media, I'm not pretty sure if you've seen it or not, but there was this girl. She was in a car, and she was wishing us a happy birthday, and she took a shot of I think it was vodka, can't remember, or Patron, or what it was.
hmm.
But pretty much when she was in a car, you can tell when somebody's going through something, because you can tell how they look. She was drained, and you can tell she was just battling it. But long story short, she committed suicide, and she wrote her siblings a letter before she killed herself. So I get what you're saying with your kids too, but I also agree that we should do that with friends and family,
Hmm.
because you never know what they're going through. And a lot of people, they just, brush it off like, oh, they okay, just because they're grown, but no. So I
Yeah.
agree.
And I'm gonna let y'all know something. Everybody is going through something. They
Hmm.
Hmm.
just it's just different stages. So we all dealing with the same devil, just different levels of it. So everybody's going through something, and nothing new is under the sun. So just what you said, Davion, we got to be aware of those around us, because some people, like us, we could verbally say, but even that took time, because there was a time where I didn't used to talk to nobody, and I
Hmm.
have a wicked grin on my face the whole time, but in the inside, I'm crushed, I'm dying, I'm hurting, like
Hmm.
something went on, and I'm like, I feel like I can't talk to nobody. Not to a point where it was suicidal. It was homicidal a couple of times, but it was never like suicidal. But still, it's the same thing. You don't want to crash out. So,
Yeah.
for those that are going through something, you can reach out to me. For those that have my number, for those on social media, you could ping me. You could reach out. Mike Lowry probably feel the same way with his family and friends, and the same messy love. And as
Yeah.
well as those that are feeling suicidal, here's the suicide prevention hotline, and as well as the website. And I want you guys to, if you don't want to talk to somebody that's close, or if the person that's close to you is the one, is the reason you're having these thoughts, then reach out to somebody. If you,
Hmm.
pastor, teacher, friend, mama, whomever. And if you don't want to talk to those people, reach out to the suicide prevention hotline.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
sad. Yeah, 'cause I had a friend from high school. He did that 2 years ago on New Year's. I didn't know I didn't even know that like he was like battling himself. Was going through the because he never showed it. He was a realtor, but yeah, he went through those. And he found out the New Year's that you know he killed himself due to that.
Yeah. And that's something that my son did mention. He was like, "Man, I just spoke to her. She was happy." He's like, "I didn't even know that this was something that she could do." And then she texted him something. I didn't ask him what it said because I feel, I respect my son's privacy, but he kind of showed it me. He was like, "She texted me last night, mom." And I was like, "Well, did you respond back?" And then he was like, "I was asleep." And so I was just like, shit. And so it's hard. It's hard seeing how it affects my son. You know what I mean? And like the next day, he was in his room just listening to music, and like I said, just giving him a hug. I'm a jokester. I like to make jokes of anything. So just making him laugh, making him smile, and every day for the longest, I tell my son that I love him and I appreciate him because he is definitely our backbone. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a single mom, so a lot of the times he feels like he's like the second father here when I'm not, when I'm working or when he has to look after his sister and things like that. But I always remind him he's still a child. Let him go out with his friends and stuff like that so that he doesn't feel the burden of being an adult just yet.
Yeah,
But yeah, definitely. If you guys know me, I'm definitely here for everyone. Love you guys, and I'm a phone call away if you have my number. There's never nothing that bad for me to push you away. I'm just not that person. If I know you, I care about you instantly, and that never goes away.
So we gonna end on that note. Somebody love y'all, man. Like I said, everybody's going through something.
Mhm.
If you call me, I'm gonna give it to you from a spiritual standpoint. So don't let the devil win. We done all been there. You heard some of the stories I shared on social media. A lot of stories I didn't share. So if you were shocked by the ones that I did share, imagine the stuff that I didn't share. So I done been through it all, and I'm still here to live to tell about it. So
Yeah,
good night, and we
for
love
sure.
y'all.
Bye, guys.
peace out.